Hi all, today I am in the Farmington Hills area of Michigan visiting the tech center for Nissan, and I have the opportunity to drive the 2026 Nissan LEAF. And my time with this vehicle is very short. Essentially, I've got 2 hours. So that includes drive time and doing the video. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm just going to do a brief walk around and show you some of the things that are new, because by the way, this is all new, but there's some things that are new, and then we'll get into some of the things that I like and some of the things that I don't like before I do some brief driving impressions. My name is Jill Ciminillo, and let's take a closer look at this week's car du jour, the 2026 Nissan LEAF. And this is the Platinum Plus trim. Okay, I just want to jump right into the exterior walk around of the 2026 Nissan LEAF because you will see this has more SUV-like proportions. This is more of a crossover than a car or a wagon like the previous generation. It has a wider stance and it has more interior volume than the previous generation. And this is also the first Nissan LEAF that is built on a dedicated EV platform. So there's a lot of things they could do with this that you couldn't do in the previous generation. You also have a new grille signature showing up here, new lighting signatures in front. And one of the more interesting things that I think that they have done, and again, this is the Platinum Plus trim, so this is going to be the top tier trim, is if you come around to the back and you look at these taillights, they are holographic taillights. And I mean, the video representation is probably not going to do it justice, but when you see it in real life, it looks like you have a close ring and then it has this 3D holographic representation. It looks really cool. And that is not going to be on your lower trimmed models, but it just looks cool. So while we're back here, I will also point out they are doing a new graphical representation here of Nissan. So if in the Japanese characters, the ni is like two stripes and then the san is going to be 3 stripes. And you're going to see this in various places throughout the vehicle. I think they said there's like 24 places or something like that on the vehicle that you will see the 2 and then 3. And one of those places is going to be on the charge port doors. Now, previously, let me start in the front. Previously, Nissan had put their charge port in the front. They had a CHAdeMO and a J1772 port for like an AC home charging connection on the front. Now, you have your J1772 home charging port or level 2 charger here on the driver's side. And then this is one of those new things. When you come around to the front passenger side, you have a second charge port, and this right here is going to be a Tesla charger, a NACS charger, North American Charging Standard. So this means for fast charging, you can go to any Tesla supercharger and yeah, you'll be able to plug in and charge there. And they put it on the front passenger side to make it easier for you to charge because those charging cords are usually a little bit shorter. And that way you don't have to back in and you don't have to do anything weird or silly. So another new thing, this is the second vehicle in the Infiniti Nissan lineup that gets the door handles that go in flush. So when the vehicle locks, here's the key, the door handles go in flush. This helps with aerodynamics. And then you have your rear door handles that are hidden in this C-pillar there. Okay, what else do we want to talk about that is new on this vehicle? I mean, this color. What do you think of this color? I think it kind of pops. I forget exactly what they're calling it. I will write it down below, but this is the halo color. I've seen this in a lot of photos. I really like it. Tell me what you think below. All right, let's go inside and check out the interior a little bit. So there are just 2 interior options on the Nissan LEAF. And yeah, this is my driving position, no judgment here. And this is going to be like the light gray, and then they have the cobalt blue accents around the edge and on the steering wheel. And then they have a dark gray option. And that's what you've got for the 2026 model year. TBD on whether they change that moving forward, but this is what you have right now. Two-tone steering wheel. And again, because this is the Platinum Plus trim, you have two 14.3-inch screens that make up your driver cluster and then your infotainment screen. And this is not leather. This is actually a synthetic leather, and it is more durable and actually, I think, softer than leather. I think it feels really good. And, you know, everything in here just looks good and feels good. IMHO. So you do have a material on the dash. You have that synthetic leather or a soft touch surface here on the dash below, and you've got some really nice mix of colors and materials, I think, going on. So I like the patterns. I like the perforation. I like the colors. So I think this looks really good. I don't want to pimp my like list, so I'll stop there and just point out that you do have, in again, the Platinum Plus trim, the Bose speakers in the headrest. I played around with this a little bit, called my husband, and there's some really good clarity that comes out of the speakers when you're talking on the phone, and you have your microphones. I'm like, where are the microphones? I don't know, but he said he could hear me. So, and that it sounded good. I was like looking in the headliner. I don't see the, microphones, but he said he could hear me, so I'm gonna consider that a win. Now, you do have a generous back seat back here. Now, probably only gonna want to put 2 people back there, but you could put 3 in a pinch. And one of the big reasons why is because you now have a flat floor. So the person who gets this middle seat, which is usually me, if you're gonna put a 5th person in there, I get that seat. It's not gonna be completely uncomfortable. And we'll take a closer look at that in just a second. For now, I want to power it up. I want to see what these screens look like. So if you have owned a Nissan vehicle, that little graphic animation should not look terribly unfamiliar to you. And I think it looks pretty good. So 14 inches, so behind the wheel cluster here, and then your 14 inches for your infotainment system here. And this is pretty interactive, pretty swipeable. I thought it did a good job in terms of moving through the different things on the screen. You do have Google built in your top 2 trims, so I think it's SV Plus and the Platinum Plus, but you do not have Google built in the lower trims. And I don't know, I really like the Google built-in idea, because here's the thing. It shows you what your battery percentage is going to be when you arrive at your destination. So NTCNA is going to be the tech center for Nissan. That's my home base today, and I will get back there with 57% of my battery. And I think that, I mean, I love that it'll tell you where you're going, and if you route a plan and you're not going to make it to your destination, it'll tell you where to stop. So I think Google built-in is great for that. But here's the really cool thing. You can also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on here. I perpetually and continually say, why not both? Because I want to be able to do phone things, listen to my podcast. I want to be able to say, hey, SIRI, and call my husband and talk on the phone without touching anything. And then I want to go back to the screen and do my navigation. Now, I will point out the Google built-in is going to be, I think they said, a 1-year trial. At least they did say that during the presentation. The guy seemed kind of unsure. So it's going to be a 1-year trial, and then it's going to be a subscription fee after that. I don't know what the fee will be, but I'll be honest with you, it's probably going to be worth it. It's probably going to be worth it. So, okay. Yeah. You got a lot of good things going on here. And I have to say, this is probably one of the coolest new things that you will see on this vehicle. It is not an electrochromatic glass roof. They said it's better. It's better than that. And here's why. So you have a button here that you can press to change the shade. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this so you can see what I'm doing and see what it looks like. So if you go this way and you just press it once, as you can see, it kind of steps open. And then you have the LEAF wording that is in, you know, kind of not embossed, but placed in the opacity. and then you press it again and it will open it all the way. Okay, so here's when you get into the cool stuff. So then you can go ahead and step it forward. And again, it's a 2-press system, but this becomes really, really dark and opaque, and this is the default. Now, it does still let some light in, but I'll be honest with you, I don't feel hot. And this is the coolest part about it. So I hit the button again, and you can open up just the bottom, or you can open up just the top. So if somebody in the back wants light, but you don't, yeah, you can do that. And that is one of the benefits that you have over a traditional sunshade. It goes both ways. I don't know, I could probably sit here all day and just kind of play with this because it's just cool. But I'm going to move you on to other things. So I think it's time for me to get into my like list and my do not like list. Okay, first up, we haven't talked about range yet, and I think that is going to be the number one thing that I like about this vehicle. This gets up to 303 miles of range. One of the biggest complaints with the Leaf has always been range. Range is even at like 220 miles, it was not enough. But in your current base S Plus trim, you can get up to 303 miles of range. Now, the more equipment you add, the more the vehicle weighs, the less range that you have. So you get up to the SV Plus, you're looking at about 288 miles of range. And then this trim right here, this all the things trim, okay, you're only looking at about 259 miles of range. But I'm going to say I'm still happy with that because my gauge for an electric vehicle is always, can I get to Indianapolis from Chicago without stopping to charge? And I would bet your bottom dollar I can probably do that in this vehicle. But because Tesla charging port comes standard, if I did need to stop and charge, there are a lot of options along the way, which also gets a thumbs up. So biggest thing that I like on the 2026 Nissan Leaf is going to be the range. 259 miles to 303 miles, thumbs up. Now, I have to say the next thing that I really like about this vehicle is going to be driving position. These seats are very, very adjustable. So, I mean, I had it set up for me in my far forward, super short position, but look at this. Okay, like I can't even touch the pedals with the tips of my toes. And then I'm going to go off screen here. I mean, yeah, this has a lot of adjustability. So I like the fact that I think both tall and small drivers are going to be comfortable here. And as a petite driver with Nissan vehicles, sometimes I have a problem hitting my knee on the underbelly of the dash. And again, because of the adjustability of the seat, I did not have that problem. So I have a really good driving position, really good brake in my elbow, and then a nice little brake over for my wrist. And these seats, so we'll move on to thing number 3 here. These seats are really comfortable. These are zero gravity seats. And if you've never Googled Nissan zero gravity seats, you should probably do that because these were made in partnership with NASA to give you really good spine support. And in a lot of seats, I've noticed like the headrest tilts forward, so I feel like I'm driving like this, or they tilt so far back that you can't rest your head on the headrest, or, you know, the seats kind of push you forward funny and you're just kind of driving. No, these seats are actually pretty perfect. So Nissan has done a great job with, you know, the overall driving position and seat comfort. I love every vehicle I've driven that has the zero gravity seats. I 100% love them because they just hit you in all of the right places. And it has to do with the memory foam on the bolstering in addition to, you know, the overall seat magic. And yeah, zero gravity seats get a huge thumbs up from me. So definitely makes the like list. Now, I already alluded to this next thing in my overall preview, but these materials are just really, really nice. Everything feels good, from the material on the door panels to the dash to the steering wheel to the seats. It feels soft. It's just very textually pleasing. I hate it when they put like ultra suede on a steering wheel or something like that. And then I'm like driving like this because I'm like, no, everything here feels good. Everything here feels really good. And you will notice, hopefully you noticed when I was doing my pan of the interior at the beginning, there's no black shiny shit here. Also, another huge thumbs up. Now you do have some kind of a duller plastic on your control panel area right here, but it still feels good, and it doesn't necessarily feel cheap. So I like that. I like all of that. So I also need to tell you, I really like how this drives. One of the big main pillars that Nissan was trying to put into this is fun to drive. And this only has 214 horsepower, but yeah, they managed it with 214 horsepower. It has really fast, instantaneous starts, and it is just very quick off the line, and it's nimble. It's nimble. They've managed the fun to drive part. This is going to be an easy vehicle for somebody to get into who has owned EVs before, but it's also going to be an easy vehicle for somebody to get into who has never owned an EV. And you know, I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why. So if you've never driven an EV, you may not be familiar with one pedal driving, but what Nissan has done is they've given you this E-step button, and that allows you to have like a one pedal like driving feel. So essentially what that means is you've got your foot on the gas and you just lift off the gas and the vehicle will slow down. Now this is not a complete one pedal drive system. It will slow you down, but it doesn't bring you to a complete stop. But there are different drive modes you can have, and so you can go from eco to standard to sport, and then you can personalize your driving mode, and that will also personalize your regeneration, so whether or not your slowing down ability from taking your foot off the accelerator is active or not, and then you can have like steering response. So I've driven with it mostly in eco so far, and I've had the E-step active, and I've been very pleased with how this is operating. Now, some other general things that I will point out that I do like, you know, the location of the cup holders is good, and I have a little 16-ounce bottle in here, and it's been holding in there pretty well. I like the location of the wireless charger, and I like the fact that you do have a nice deep cubby there to set some things in to hide it. A lot of times when you have this center console kind of area, they don't give you a space to store stuff, and that can be a little bit annoying. I live in a city, and I don't always want to have to put stuff in a glove box. I want a little storage cubby right here. I'm going to go ahead and sync my phone to Apple CarPlay because I'm going to show you how easy it is to navigate between Google Maps and your Apple CarPlay environment, and that is going to be the last thing that I really like about this vehicle. I mean, there's a lot more things that I really like, but that's the last thing that I want to talk about in this video. Okay, here we go. So you can see this is the native system Google built in right here as we saw it originally, but if you press the little icon down here, once you have connected to Apple CarPlay, your Apple things pop up, and then you can easily navigate to your podcasts, to your phone calls, to your text messages, and you can even use the catchphrase, "Hey, SIRI," to be able to do your phone calling or listening to your podcast or any of the voice activations you would normally do with your phone. And I just like the fact that it's easy to go from Apple CarPlay back into your, Google built-in navigation or into your various climate functions and things like that. It's very easy to move back and forth between both environments, and that's how it should be. I love the fact that they've got the Google built-in, but I mean, if you wanted to use your own Google Maps, you could do that. If you wanted to use Apple Maps, you could do that too. But if you were going a longer distance and you wanted the route planning for charging capabilities, yeah, you could do that too. I've long said, when you have Google built-in, why not have both Apple CarPlay and Google built-in? It's possible. Why not both? Thank you, Nissan, for giving us both. All right, I lied. There's one more thing I want to talk about before I leave the like list that I really like, and that is going to be the different camera views. This around view camera and around view monitor is standard on even the S Plus trim. So this is a platinum trim. It has the around view monitor, but this is standard even on the current base model, and you have a lot of different views and a lot of different angles and ways that you can interact with the camera to show you what is going on around you. So, I mean, I always geek out over cameras. Those of you who follow me, you know I live in a very dark garage, or my cars live in a very dark garage, and being able to have good cameras to back into my garage, super helpful. So this right here is one of the good ones. All right, it is now time for me to transition into the things that I don't like on this vehicle, and I'm going to start by saying that none of the things on my do not like list are deal breakers, but I do think they're things you should be aware of before you go into this purchase. And one of those things is going to be the fact that even though this does have Pro Pilot Assist, so it's got the little blue button on your steering wheel for the adaptive cruise control and steer assist, you do not have the hands-free Pro Pilot Assist 2.1. So we've seen this on some of the other vehicles from Nissan, and it works really well. So I don't know why. I mean, I have a vague idea of why they wouldn't include it on this vehicle, pricing being the thing, but this is the top tier platinum trim. This is a $42,000 vehicle. This has some options on it. And so as tested price of this specific vehicle is $42,000. I don't know why it doesn't have the hands-free Pro Pilot Assist on it. It just has the basic hands-on Pro Pilot Assist. So not a big deal, just something that I don't quite understand. For the rest of things on my do not like list, I think you need to see what I'm seeing. Now, you're probably surprised I didn't start with this, but yeah, this is going to be on my list. I like the location of this. I like the fact that it mostly covers your phone, but there is no cool pad on here, so it is going to heat up your phone. And again, I haven't been behind the wheel for an extended period of time, so I can't tell you what would happen over a 3-hour period, but I do know that it stopped charging my phone after about a half an hour because it heated up my phone and it had to let my phone cool down. But if you actually want to charge your phone, if you need to charge your phone, you're going to want to bring a USB cable. And yeah, the ports are right under here. So you could set your phone there, or hey, you could even set your phone there. Yeah, so don't love that. Now, the other thing, I pointed this out a little bit on the Nissan Murano because this to me looks similar to how the setup is in the Nissan Murano. These icons down here, while I really appreciate that you have them, they are really small and they're kind of like hard to like hit when you're driving. And I found myself, and especially like my nails are not that long right now, but especially if you have nails, like you've got to kind of turn your finger sideways if you're trying to hit some of these icons on here, and it's a little bit awkward. And that transfers to this as well. If you have nails, like I'm stabbing this right now and it's not necessarily recognizing it until I turn my hand to the side. So for men, probably not going to be an issue. You probably don't have long fingernails, but if you do, not that there's anything wrong with that. It's all good. But for women who have longer fingernails, like that could be an issue. So these two little control panels right here are on the do not like list because they're just a little bit awkward. And I don't know how you make this better. Maybe you move this menu to the side. Maybe you bring this a little bit more out because this, and I get why they probably have done this, because then you can rest the heel of your palm on this as you're trying to hit things on here. It creates a little bit more stability, but again, these icons are just really small, and so you're gonna have to turn your hand sideways to hit them. And I got small fingers. My fingers are teeny tiny. Now, the last thing that I want to point to, again, probably also not a huge deal, but I will say that your rear visibility out of this window is just a little bit squished. So you're just going to have to make sure that you're paying attention in your side mirrors in addition to your rear mirror if you want a further back view of what is going on behind you. And again, not a huge deal if you've got your side mirrors set up properly, but I did notice that this just is a little bit squished, and I found myself kind of like moving around a little bit to try and see out that window as well as I could. All right, that is what I have for you on what I like and what I don't like. And you may have noticed my like list is a lot longer than my do not like list. But before I get into driving impressions, I did want to take a quick look at the back seat because I have a feeling, yeah, if you buy this car, you're probably going to sit somebody back here. And I will point out, they do have a lot of nice materials that have carried into the back seat. You don't see that a lot in some vehicles that are trying to save pennies. So I appreciate the fact that the materials are really nice back here. They've carried the color theme all the way through. And yeah, you have this nice cloth and some nice surfaces on the doors back here as well. You've also got a decent amount of headroom, and they've actually said that with this glass roof, you've got more headroom than you would have in the back seat than you would normally have with a sunroof. So I'll consider that a win. I'm short. I never have headroom problems, but I'm just gonna, you do have a little bit of a steep slope back here. So the fact that they've managed to get about 4 or 5 inches above my head gets a thumbs up. Now, I will point out, I do also have a decent amount of leg room. There's probably about 5 or 6 inches between my knees and the back of this seat. And it kind of scoops in a little bit to give you a little better leg room if you're taller. So I'm gonna say average sized adults are gonna fit back here just fine. I'm about 5 feet tall. For your reference, if you've never seen a video that I've done before, I'm about 5 feet tall. So that should maybe give you a little perspective. I'm the average size of a 10-year-old. That's probably somebody you're gonna put back here. But average size adults also going to fit fine. You know what? I just wanna show you what else is going on back here. So because this is a Platinum Plus trim, you do also have these nice air vents here. You've got your heated rear seats, you've got USB ports, and you have a plug here. And that is a Platinum Plus trim only feature. You also have one in the cargo area, so that means you could sit in the back seat, work on your computer, or you can tailgate and hook up a hot plate or a slow cooker to be able to, I don't know, do tailgate things. Okay, last thing I want to show you is you do have this little pull down here if you're only seating 4. So you've got an armrest and you've got cup holders, but no prongy things back here. Overall, I feel like this is a reasonable back seat for somebody who is going to be an average sized adult. All right, I just want to give you some very brief driving impressions. I've only been behind the wheel for about an hour, and I think that was enough time for me to say, I really like this vehicle. I think Nissan has done a great job with the powertrain. Even though it has only 214 horsepower, this is a really fast, fun, and peppy vehicle. They've gotten that fun to drive factor in there. It's nimble, it is quiet, and it is really smooth. Like, granted, I haven't been driving on the roughest of pavement, but I haven't been driving on super smooth stuff either. So I like the design. I like the way this handles and drives, and I like it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I like it. The seats are comfortable. The visibility is great. The technology is really good. And while I complained about a couple of things, none of those things are deal breakers. None of them. So, first impressions, very favorable. And that is what I'm going to say about the 2026 Nissan LEAF. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe below, and I will see you next time with a new car du jour.